Let's discuss the penultimate arc of Season 3. But before we get into it, I'll repeat something I mentioned elsewhere. YouTube is really persnickety when it comes to Korra. I don't know why it is with that specifically, but if the video gets too long, the bots just shut it down. That's why you get videos like these separate, why the episode by episode are often just jokes and the occasional brief aside, while having to do long-form discussions like reflections on what we see or examination of Suyin's character have to come out separately. But with that, we can shift to this arc, which is when the Red Lotus has finally emerged as the threat of the season. With the execution of the Earth Queen, we see the scope of that threat. Power and the will to wield it in the name of their cause. And they are true believers. They are committed to tearing down what they see as the institutions that deny people their freedom. Let's consider that for a moment. Think about the start of the search for the new airbenders. The presumption was that they would all walk away from their lives. Korra talks about tough love, but clearly there was no love in it, just the tough. Shanghaiing someone from their life. Your role has been decided and you must fulfill it. The Queen holds up a mirror to Korra by showing what inevitably that is, conscription into a slave army. Why would you want the history of the air nomads to be about how it all began with you forcing people from their homes and abandoning their lives and families? How are you the hero if you haul a bunch of people onto an island and tell them they must choose someone there to breed with? Because after all, you're not talking about the preservation of the culture, which the air acolytes already do, but the perpetuation of airbenders themselves. There needs to be breeding for a next generation to arise. That's just how it works. And what have you denied the world by this action, by taking people from their lives and forcing them to live the one you think? The song that is never written, the discovery that is never made, the peacemaker who isn't there to stop conflict. By trying to force a fate on people, who knows what you've denied the world? The Red Lotus are a reaction to this entire idea of refusing to accept that duty can be involuntarily imposed. They prove this point by accepting a duty despite the sacrifice that it demands of them, to remain imprisoned, silent, as years come and go with no hope of release. No one ever tries to trade what they know in the hopes of a little freedom. They don't want a little freedom. They want total freedom, and for the whole world. The reason they tried to take Korra in her youth was to raise her in their school of thought, and not the one she was raised in. However, it should be noted that Korra was raised, coddled in a school of thought about duty and surrounded by political elites. So of course Korra's instincts were to force roles on people for the greater good. Her life was structured entirely around that. Now one could certainly make the case, I would, Korra needed that in order to rein in her bullying instincts, and that the Red Lotus would have probably turned her into a supervillain, not by indoctrinating her, but by taking the brakes off an already forces to be used on those who oppose me personality. The fact that Korra's impatience drives her to almost kidnap people shows why the Red Lotus sees Korra as a threat. She has the power to force people to surrender their most precious right, to choose for themselves. And it takes hordes in order to oppose that power. The reason the Red Lotus make such truly effective adversaries is because they have more than a goal. They have lives. They are, in a sense, the original Team Avatar in a mirror darkly. They are elite benders with their own internal dynamics. No power base to draw upon. United by a dream, even if that dream results in chaos. Aang struggled with the burden that he would need to kill the Fire Lord, while Zahir has no trouble executing the Earth Queen, yet both felt they had a responsibility to end the tyranny and free the world. It was just Zahir saw all leadership as tyranny. The choice of each of the benders was inspired. Original Team Avatar had Toph, who invented metal bending, and Katara, who utilized blood bending. And then there was Aang's spirituality and Sakura's skilled planning. So we have someone with the power of the last Airbender's most Terminator-like character, the power of combustion bending. Then having her also romantically involved with Zahir helps give her a life beyond merely her power and her cause. Even if it's not dwelled on much, it's something to make her more human. Gazan has this new form of earthbending, lava bending, and as we see, it is incredibly potent as it neutralizes the power of other earthbenders against him. He clearly believes in their cause, yet also he seems the most regular dude of the group. Ming-Nua's water tentacle abilities take an ability that was seen in The Last Airbender and dial it up to 11, compensating with her lack of physical arms for watery extensions of her being. Her casual capacity to threaten death could have always been there, or also as a result of 17 years of not just being imprisoned, but denied the ability that let her cope with her physical condition. We don't know because we don't see her before all of that. Even Ioway, the fifth column, didn't just possess truth-seer abilities, but also the rare skills of metal bending and seismic sense, which it's been asserted is what allowed for his truth-seer abilities to work. This thus puts Korra up against a rarity, raw power, just like she often relies upon. Unlike needing to face armies of minions or soldiers, Korra is facing a few truly elites who can do things that she simply can't. That's necessary because of the philosophical nature of her enemies. The Red Lotus can't have a power base because it's incompatible with what they want. Thus, they have to stand on their own as a true threat to her. That philosophy, of course, gives them true freedom to act. There is no need for concern of consequences if you have nothing in this world that can be taken from you. No position to lose, no loved ones to leave you, no wealth, no home, nothing but what you carry with you. They're powerful antagonists because they have an ironclad devotion to a cause, phenomenal abilities, fantastic teamwork, and absolutely nothing to lose.